I'm still fixing it now. Bro, my mind's broken still, so I'm still I need to be rewired myself. No, it took me about, I would say, 5 years of really dialing things in, like having the self-awareness to go, oh, okay, so, because what happens is you'll fix certain things in your mind, and then something else that you didn't think was a problem will then creep up. You thought, oh, I didn't think that was an issue, and then you have to go back and then you work on this and you work on this. So for me, it was just trial and error, and having such a deep level of self-awareness to go, right, so this is why I'm the way that I am. Where does that stem from? And then I'll trace it back. And deeper, I'd write down, well, why? And then how can I put something in place to reshape that? Otherwise, if you don't reshape the fabric of your mind, you are a repetitive loop of just who you are right now. And who you are right now may not serve you to make the money that you want to make. So you'll kind of just walk through life arrogantly thinking, well, who I am is enough. And who you are right now may not be enough. And that's the harsh reality that every individual has to come to terms with. So it took me a while. But I wouldn't have it any other way. I think it's toughened me up, and more than anything else, by having to dig deep into that. With no guidance on that, by the way, just like a guinea pig, trial and error, really trying to figure out, why am I the way that I am? What are the triggers? How can I put something in place to prevent that from happening? And then how long does it take for me to build a habit that is hardwired in? That's why I know that when I was talking on my stories today, rewired hands down will just fix 90% of people's problems. There's this argument floating around, which is, what should you work on, psychology or technicals? What comes first? And I don't think people are really qualified to be answering these questions, well, most people in this space. Check out my stories after, and hopefully it gives you a bit of an insight. Tune in the background, it is. What are we dealing with? We're dealing with, I'm not going to pronounce the name, I'll show you. This is what we're dealing with. So for those of you that want to take a screenshot, you can type that in. I like to couple my affirmations with imagination mark. I'm in the process of generating wealth. I ask myself, what does that mean? And I paint the answer with a picture. Brilliant. Absolutely love that. Get as many of those senses involved as possible. What are you looking forward to Christmas period, Mark, other than Boxing Day game session? I would say, honestly, just cooking. Like, there's a few recipes that I'm going to trial out. Like, I have very, very limited amount of time for myself, but one thing I do enjoy, I love cooking, like Gordon Ramsay style. So, if you used to say what am I looking forward to, it's just having a little bit more time with family to just prepare some master dishes. That's what I'll be doing. Let's see. %. I messaged you to put me back in the Discord server. I won't disappoint you. I'll take your word for it. But I mean, listen, if we see your name here again in the live, people know that you acted up. Yeah, I'll get you in. So, any other questions? Feel free to drop them in. Right, 10 to, yeah, so we've got about 11 minutes till market close, and then I'm going to be going deep into some more analysis. When's the next Rewired meetup? So, next Rewired meetup is going to be in Q1, so we're going to announce those details and the next Rewired webinar in the coming weeks. So, we're likely going to be in a very similar spot. So, for those of you that were there last time, we'll be in a similar spot for the Rewired meetup and a few other additional things that I've been working on for Rewired as well. Now, I know some of you that have been in Rewired for a while, you've already seen improvements with things like Beyond Rewired, and some of you are just early on, you've not even gone through Beyond Rewired yet, which is absolutely fine, but I'm looking forward to the future development. Like I said, you investing into Rewired is for life, and what I'm going to put into it, most people I've never even seen. So you guys have not even seen the case study series that I've been working on, which is essentially, I knew I needed time to catch up because I needed people to go through the program, apply the principles, get the feedback, then become funded, stay funded, hit levels, quit their job, and we've documented that in such a unique way. So to put into the case study format where they've essentially utilised all the material in a certain way, I think that's going to be the next wave of progression, where people that are in the programme will go, I've not used it effectively, because you're going to start to hear the more specific, detailed stories as to, right, so that's how they've applied that on a practical level, and I think that's where Rewired wins, which I'm looking forward to. So I'd love for those of you that are in the Rewired programme to get to the next meetup, because I would love to meet you guys in person. You know, some of you are not, of course, trading the Falcon system, and that's totally okay, but if you're a Rewired member, we would love to see you at the meetup. Can I use the same mechanics to trade such a pair as NAS 100? NAS 100 is on my watch list for next week. So, of course, US 30 is on my watch list for next week. What do you think of Monk Point Month? I have something way more special than that for Q1. I have something very special. I literally just announced it in the webinar and the introduction for this week's SMB. Been looking through the Rewired library, looking at Reading 25, Cognitive Biases by Charlie Munger. A lot of people are sleeping on that library. I'm glad that you mentioned that. Do yourselves a favour, if you're in Rewired, go through the library list, and especially during this period, maybe just order 1 or 2 books. Reward yourself, treat yourself. I think you'll find it'll be a good investment. If you're a betting man, what month would you see the first 7-figure trader? Well, we already have them, they just don't want to be named. But if you was to say to me, Tom, what month do I think we're going to have to in the public domain, I would say, I'm not a betting man, Tom, but I'm going to go with my instincts and say April, because I have a very strong instinct, just based off I know so many people are at the level where they're trading like 600k, 700k, 500k, so I just know how close they are to 7 figures anyway. And with what I've got in store for Q1, I think it'll be really difficult not to perform at the highest level in that quarter, and that would be enough time to then get that extra level of capital. But I know those guys will sustain it as well. It's not going to be a quick, I've got 7 figures and next week I now have only 400k, like it will be sustained 7 figures, which I'm really pleased about. Good to see you guys here, by the way. Welcome everyone just joining the live. Tom, bang on, 100%. I know that's happening. Yeah, you'll see the things that I talk about in this week's SMB. That's it. Are we going to see recent Tom as in April? That's what we'll see. What are you guys looking at for next week? Any major instruments shaping up to you? I would say there's going to be some interesting developments on different asset classes. So again, speaking of things like NAS 100, US 30, S&P 500 just about to hit all-time highs. This is why it's really strange and bizarre. People sleeping in December, having a break in December. Do you know how insane that is? The market is hitting all-time highs, and people are fixated on taking time off. Do you understand what is wrong with that as a trader? So you can just wrap your head around, like, forget about me saying, you know, December, etc. Just look at the market. Forget about anything I'm saying. Just look at the market and see all-time highs, momentum in the crypto market. How can you not see there's activity going on? That should be the biggest clue to you to get rid of these myths. any particular strategy you use for S&P or NAS, etc. Literally Falcon strategy. That's the beauty of how we trade. You literally trade exactly the same. So I'm looking for a particular entry on the NAS 100 for next week. Beautiful. US 30, exactly the same. S&P, one more move up that I'll be looking for a short-term long play, which is there's roughly about 11% in the move. The most simple mechanical-based thought process into that entry that you could ever see. Very similar to the Eurocap position. So that will be more of the mechanical management that I will use on that, because there's not much more room for the S&P move. I mean, it may go a little bit higher, but again, if I can even get out at an 8-to-1 as a more quicker, aggressive trade, then I'm going to do so. Mark, should I be buying some mutual funds and maximising out my 401k? I mean, I'm not too familiar with... It's very different to what we do in the UK, right? But I understand the rough concepts. I would maximise it to the best of your ability. However, after that, there's going to be a more specific strategy that you can follow, right? That's going to give you, of course, a little bit more risk. However, the reward would be there. But of course, if you're in a position to do so, why wouldn't you for a short period of time? But there will come a point in which that there's got to be more education in terms of how you choose to use your money to make money, put it that way.